Alright guys, Shill Bill back again, do some TA, have a bit of a look at some of the tweets, some of the bit of the economics of SLP, AXS and things like that. Always starting off with BTC, it kind of drives the market. So when we're in a downtrend with BTC, which looks like we've just confirmed we definitely are, just for the moment anyway, at least in the daily, it's going to bring the rest of the market down. So you're going to see a fair bit of blood across the board. We're hitting back to this 42k level now on BTC. We've got this, we do have a little bit of structure here. We can dip a little bit into the 40s, but pretty much anything below 40, there's not really anything here, especially on the daily, between there and 29k. Like a fall through here, we would pretty quickly get to 29k, and it's going to pull the rest of the market down as well. So just watching what these daily candles close. If we get a daily candle close below here, if we get a retest of that, I think that's the next logical spot for BTC to go. To go ETH, same kind of thing. We're now bearish on the daily. We're below that 50 moving average and looking like to close below the 200 as well. And these are sort of the next levels of support. Got some structure over here to the left. So ETH, I'm looking probably next target's probably about 3k. And then under that, 27, 23, which is, a pretty steep drop from when ETH was like, 5k back in November. SLP ETH, this chart looks terrible. Down about 98%, I think now from the highs back in July. Nothing much I can say. We can go to the 4-hour chart. The team needs to do something about SLP because there is so much just downward selling pressure. No one's breeding. I don't know what they're going to do. Like, they got some news coming out. We got Ronin, which is pretty much the only other use for SLP at the moment is to farm Ronin. But apart from that, no one's breeding anymore. If you look at the mint breed, it's worse than it was. So we had that little bit of a pump back here. We did like 100%. Still closed by that pesky 50 moving average that we've been looking at in every video. We just can't get past it, and it's just smashing into it. Even here, it tried, over 3-4 different 4-hour candles. Still couldn't get above. Every time this 200 gets close, we just get these massive sell-offs. It's down to like 666 ETHs, or however you say. It's not Satoshis, it's not Sats, it's whatever you call it in ETH. Down from 8,000? No, we were much higher than that. 20,429. Oof. It's quite the fall from July. And I don't know what fixes this. Like V2, maybe fix it, but it's still got quite a way to fall. Like this could quite. I'm looking at 420 just because of the number, but there's another 30-40% easy just down to there, and this is the all-time low. So we've never been this low on SLP versus ETH. So we're just trying to find a bottom. Like at some point, people are just not going to be willing to sell their SLP. Big percentages for scholars in Axie. Everyone's probably just dumping it. And there's just massive sell pressure on the market, and no one wants to buy SLP. So at some point, when it gets low enough, people are going to want to buy SLP to then breed a bunch of Axies for super cheap. As we saw here, it's like $57 for the floor, and which is, why do people need scholarships anymore if it's only going to be about $300 or $400 to buy a team? That in itself is going to pose some problems, but even then, why would a scholar be buying this? Because the ROI now on a team for Axies, just because the way that they've structured it, that it costs way more in SLP than AXS. It's like the ROI is like 5.5 months. Like we've been seeing scholars just don't want to play anymore because it's not worth it for them. There's just so many hours to just basically make nothing. So we're in We did have a bit of volume here, which is good. I mean, someone's buying it up. Let's see what happens. But it's basically, the same thing here on the USD chart. We're down. We hit that 3.5 cent level here, and we double bottomed. We triple bottomed here, and as soon as we broke through it, turned into resistance. So this is the super historic level here, about 3.5 cents that we could have went through from the old charts back when it was just on before it hit Binance, just on the dexes. And we double bottomed, and then I thought it was gonna be a triple bottom, and we broke and closed straight through it. Once we broke through it, it then becomes resistance. So we've got this level of clear support here. Once we break the bottom, it becomes resistance. So shorting this from here would have been, perfect on OKX. I think they have a perpetual contract. And you could basically short this down until we start creating new market structure. But it would have been pretty good short. Wasn't paying enough attention, but already 37% with no leverage. If you had claims coming up as well, would have been a good time to lock in a price at that 3.5 cents, because at the moment we're sort of in a free fall and no idea how low. If BTC dumps, this is going to bring everything with it as well, because it's now on Binance. So the bots and the automation comes in, markets just dump. This is zero. So if we look out at the big picture, we're getting dangerously close to zero. Which is not good for anyone. Only good news is that there's so much upside, right? So if we do come down a bit, there's like 600%. So whatever you're breeding, and if you're taking the risk now and breeding, anything you're breeding while it's down here, if we do come back up, the upside is massive. So if you're going to be at, it'll really cut your ROI quite down if you can get to be able to sell some SLP prices. Like this wasn't that long ago, only a month ago. November, December, January, sorry, 2 months ago. Where we were back up at that 13 cent mark. That's pretty much it. AXS, free fall. This is what we were looking for last time. And we did get this trade in. We broke, came back down, got a perfect entry. Like you can see there, it wicked right down to the entry. We were looking for the break and retest. We got there and we got stuck on the 200, and BTC dumped from here and just pulled the whole market down with us. The rewards at the moment, let's have a look. The rewards as well, I think Jihos did tweet this. The rewards have dropped for AXS as well. I'm trying to find where that was. So let's have a look at this. Stability. The rewards have dropped for the AXS staking to, here we go. Staking rewards were reduced from 2 million per month to 1.5. Still pretty crazy, right? And those rewards are going to stay at this much per month up until January 2025. And I think we were still pretty close to like 100% not long ago for the staking rewards, which is really good. Like it's a real good money earner. And if AXS, eventually does, like AXS hasn't dropped anywhere near as much as I would have thought. It's still 50. What is that, 50 something percent or so, but in comparison to like how much SLP is down and everything else, basically SLP is the only other coin that you really have anything to look at within the Axie ecosystem, because RON's only it hasn't quite come out yet, but AXS is the governance token. If Axie is strong, this thing should be going as well. So now that we've broken this level, I am looking for probably for a buy, probably this area here around about the 37 bucks. So we might have another 50% drop here. I'll definitely be looking to pick up some AXS if we hit this. We got that structure over to the left, pretty much anywhere in this zone here. So if we pull that across, anywhere in that zone between 37 and 49 is kind of where I want to be stocking back up on AXS. just for long-term holds and then staking it. The lower you can get in, the more upside you get for that staking as well. Let's have a look at the mint burn quick. We're at 10 minutes. So you can see here, people have just stopped breeding. A lot of people are moving to other projects where the ROI is better. We got 5.5 months or so on Axie ROI at the moment. And every day that SLP continues to go down, you know, we drop another 50%. It just adds a bunch more ROI to that. So it could be taking you like a year's worth of sinks to even get your money back before you start making any from scholars, depending on what your percentage is. But that's not attractive to anyone at the moment. You know, the saying always is be greedy when others are fearful. A little bit harder to do in practice. I haven't been breeding, but I have bought a bunch of Axies in the marketplace while it's cheap, and I'll have the stock to breed, just sort of getting a bunch of different things while everything's on sale and just waiting for version 2, and hopefully the team can come and rescue it, because at the moment it's looking pretty bleak. They did, however, put this about economic balancing. I think I had it open somewhere. Have a read of it. Some of the things sound good, but to me, it just sounds like a fluff piece. Like, hey, yeah, we care that this thing's down like 96%, and this is the only thing that, you know, everyone makes money from, that is invested, and especially the people that are in July, right? They must be getting like the ROI at this point. They might get it back by like 2050 for the price that people would have paid for things. I know that they're going to want to have a bunch of SLP for land play or things like this, but it'd be great if they could even you know, sort of tell people what that's going to be, or give some hints just to give this a bit of a bounce. Because as we saw in this, like, we're not that far from zero. You know, like, at what point do people just stop playing? Like, are they trying to drive SLP down so much that people just stop playing, and that cuts out the supply side? Because like for me, like playing myself, if I'm playing to make SLP, it's just not worth it for me to even play anymore. It's just not worth my time. Other people might still be worth their time, but for me, like, you know, that time can definitely be spent better elsewhere. Let's have a look. What else we're looking at here? So basically, have a read through this. It's good to read through, but you know what I'm looking at is just so much of it is just decreasing the supply of SLP. You know, taking away daily quests. They've already halved them. That didn't do anything. You know, so you know, if it didn't do anything the first time, what makes you think it's going to do anything the next time? There's still so much circulating SLP, and if the price of RON isn't good, so much SLP is locked up in that liquidity pool farming RON at the moment. If RON is no good and the price of it is terrible, I think we're getting it launches on FTX for the perpetual contract, so people are basically going to be gambling on it. If that's no good, I don't know what happens with all the SLP that's sitting in those liquidity pools and farming RON. Like, if RON's not worth anything, are they going to pull that out and dump it on the market, which would just cause this to, you know, really, the pain to really sort of kick in. No idea what RON's going to be worth. Very interested to see what people think it's going to be worth, with the rest of the market sort of doing what it is. If BTC is in a massive downtrend, releasing a perpetual contract is probably not the best time when we're looking at BTC. You know, if it breaks through this, there's going to be some shorts in that perpetual contract. And if you have been farming RON and you've got a bunch of it that you haven't unlocked, or you are farming RON and you know how much you're farming it for, the other thing is that you can, like, if you know how much RON you're going to be getting sort of every fortnight, month, you, with the FTX, where is it? I think we're back here. On FTX, if you're shorting this, you can lock in a price for your RON. So if RON's going up, this is one good thing that I might look at and do another video. But if I'm going to be farming RON in my SLP because I don't want to sell it at this price, you know, when RON has a pump, finding areas to sort of lock in a RON price and knowing how much RON I'm going to get to sort of hedge against what I'm farming for to lock myself in a price. I might do that. I was going to do one for SLP because I was locking in prices for my scholarship claims. But we just haven't had any upside to be able to, for me to find a new price to take another short out in. So, All right, hope that was a bit helpful. Sorry for the bleak news, but chart-wise, nothing looks good in the market in general, and especially worse for Axie at the moment with the problems that they got with that SLP. All right, guys. See you next time.